Alright guys, we are heading to pick up a vehicle up here in Hollister, Missouri. It is a 1971 Pontiac Ventura. I've had two of these before. They were both 73 models. One was really clean. It was my first one. I regret ever getting rid of it. The second one was a red one that we picked up in Nashville. Anyway, this one, the guy says it ran 10 years ago when it was parked, and he's put plugs on it, wires, coil, just the cap, rotor, and all that stuff, but he doesn't know how to set the points. So anyways, no big deal. So the motor's turning over, but it's just not firing. Headlights worked on it, he says. Windshield wipers, horn, all that stuff works, so that's already a plus. It's a Sprint, so it's bucket seats and shifters in the floor. Needs to be cleaned up. It's not the prettiest thing. What I consider little amount of rust. Some people probably different, but anyway, so we're gonna go up here and get it. We're gonna bring it back to the shop, and we're gonna get it to fire. He's asking $2,500 for it, which is a good deal. Even if the motor's blown, it's a good deal, because the 71 model is the same year model that everybody wants in a Nova. And if you know anything about the Ventura, it is just Pontiac's version of the Chevy Nova. So it's a great body style and well worth the price. So I'll show you here in a minute firing up. All right, guys, we got it here at the shop. Waiting on Corey to get back. He had to stop at O'Reilly's to get some things, and as he'll be here, what he's going to do is show you guys how to check your points and how to set them and all that stuff. So the guy I got this from has already put the new cap on there, new rotor, new coil, new plugs, and I'm looking at the coil right now, and it does not look new, but doesn't matter. Anyways, the plugs, the wires, and the cap, that all looks new. So what I'm going to do is, before we run out of daylight, show you guys a little bit more inside the car here. This floor on the driver's side is absolutely solid. Not perfect, but it is solid. The passenger side, not so much. It's all there, but there is a, I don't know, like a quarter size hole in it. Haven't looked at the rear yet from the top, but from underneath it looks really good. The whole car overall looks really good. You can see there's rust here, in here, in here, and that's the worst of it. The other side's the same, but on the other side it doesn't have this, and the quarters down there are about the same. Has this dent right here. As far as dents go, that's the only one. And that's about it, guys. So it's a Sprint model, if I hadn't explained that already. So in 71, Pontiac came out and put the 307 in the Sprints, in the Venturas. So this does have a 307 in it, which is good, because my last Pontiac had the Pontiac 350, and good luck finding parts for that. We had to rebuild the motor in my first one, and we couldn't even get a crank for it. We had to have it machined and all that, and had to go with thicker bearings to make up the difference, but it worked, and it was actually a good car. But had I needed a new crank, I would have been out of luck. Would have had to just throw the motor away. But anyways, when Corey gets here, if we have enough daylight, I'm going to let him do a little instructional video on how to set your points.
All right, so Josh just picked up this car, as you guys know. It does have new cap, new rotor, new coil, new plugs, new wires, and a new set of points. Previous owner just didn't have any knowledge on setting points. So the first thing I always do is put the key to on, kind of take your screwdriver and put it in here and try to make it ground and see if there's any spark at all, just so know that you got power. So if you look there, so we do have that. So the other thing is now, basically, if you look at this octagon piece right here, this is what's going to gap each time. It's going to let this come apart. That way it can lose contact, make contact, lose contact, make contact, so that you can get spark through a distributor. But you basically have to bump until your contact point of the octagon is right at the crest, right at the peak. That way you can set your gap at that point. If you set it at any point on the flat, it's going to be too much of a gap. And then if you set it on the point and it's touching, that's wrong too, because then it's never going to separate. So now we're going to bump it, get this to where it is touching right at the peak, and then I'm going to set the points. All right, so I have one of the peaks of the octagon right on the contact point of the points. So now what I'm going to do is the easiest way and the most common thing you might have is a spark plug box. Take the spark plug box and rip off one of the little pieces of the box that closes and stick it in there and use that to set your gap. All right, so we're going to back this out. This is making the gap. I'm making a gap now. So we're going to do that. I'm going to take my little piece of spark plug box. I'm going to stick it in the gap here. I'm going to try to. Looks like I'm not there yet. There should be plenty. Stick the piece of box in here. Gonna slide it in, all right. Basically, you just want to not really put a bunch of pressure against that, you know, to where you mess up the gap, but make it to where it closes down on that. And you're just using this piece of cardboard as basically a feeler gauge. You know, the correct way would be to use feeler gauges, but not everybody has them. So this is like if you're on the side of the road and you need to set some points, or you pull up to a barn find and you want to get it running, this is the way I would do it. I want it to where it'll just drag on that box. All right, like right there is too tight. I'm just gonna back up just a hair. Pull the box out. And that seemed a little too much. Back it up just a hair. All right. We're still getting power. So now we'll put the rotor back on, put the cap on, and see if we got spark. On these, always match. Look, there's a square. You can't really put this on wrong unless you're really messing up. And we have no idea if the previous owner put these plugs on, the wires on right, or any of that. We're just going to see if we can get some spark, and we'll go from there.
You're right, I can hear the blower motor.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead.
Well, we're gonna need some fuel, so we're just gonna pump it out of the car.
That's what happens when you don't keep spare fuel around. Oh.
We get these some hot wire. Hold on.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Sweet. All right, what we're gonna do is we got some fuel. We fired up to 64 and we pumped this out of the tank because we didn't have any just fuel sitting around. So I'm gonna fill up the bowl through the vent tube, see if we can get this thing, because I mean, I smell fuel remnants, but really if it was full, I should be overflowing this thing right now. Slowly but surely filling up. All right, go ahead, hit it, Josh. There she is. And she ran out of fuel in the bowl. All right, so check it out, guys. Of course, Josh buys the cars, but I drive the cars. So, got me a little hose running. Got me a little hand fuel pump here. Oh yeah. And took them flat tires off of there. And Josh had the ones that were on the Impala, which were off of an S10. Stuck those on there, and let's see if we can make this thing move. Let's see. All right, so I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna set you up on the dash. I'm gonna pump this with my hand, turn the key, and we're gonna try to drive. Oh! Awesome.